The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights looks into reports of police abuses in Jamaica. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, October 24. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Reports of extrajudicial executions and excessive use of preventative detention against blacks in Jamaica was the subject of a hearing by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, and that's sitting in Uruguay. That took place on Monday. The issue came to the fore as the commission heard testimony from a Jamaican woman whose son died 3 years ago of injuries he sustained while in police custody. Mercia Fraser, the mother of Mario Dean, claimed that in her family's search for justice, they faced harassment by police. Dean was severely beaten on August 3, 2014, while in lockup at the Barnett Street police station. He succumbed to his injuries in hospital 3 days later. His mother told the commission that families in Jamaica are afraid to pursue justice when their relatives are killed by police. She also testified that her son was among a number of young Jamaican men who have been arrested and denied bail because they stood up to the police. Fraser said since her son's death, police personnel have been harassing her.
Follow me from the 5th floor of the hospital to the 3rd floor and then back to the 5th floor. And sometimes in court, they would follow me around. And at my home, they would drive down, park a little, and then drove off.
The Jamaican woman also expressed frustration at the pace of the court proceedings, noting that she has already been to court more than 20 times in relation to the case, but was yet to get justice for her son.
So until our government clean up the police force, until each of the police are held accountable for their action, until government stop covering up and giving them the best lawyers, until the people of Jamaica see equal rights and justice for every citizen, until we can be assured that when we go to the police, we won't end up dead, then no one will go to the police.
The Human Rights Commission said the Jamaican government was invited to the hearing, but it said it did not have a diplomatic representative in Uruguay. The government also took issue with the theme of the hearing, reports of extrajudicial executions and excessive use in preventative detention against Afro-descendants in Jamaica. The government said with a population of 93% Afro-descendants, it was unlikely that people from that background were being targeted by police because of their ethnicity. But the commissioner said that it was unfortunate the Jamaican government did not attend the hearing.
Of this heading is referring to Afro-descendants when it's the majority of the country. They don't understand. Unfortunately, they will not understand nothing at all if they're not present here. I mean, it's important for the state to be present, and whatever the state has to say and or disagree with, it's important that they do this here under equal conditions.
The Guyana government is exploring the possibility of sharing an oil processing facility with Suriname, even as new oil companies bid to explore the country's newfound commodity. Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman visited the Dutch-speaking CARICOM nation recently, and he said the idea of a joint industrial center or site to service both countries was broached during meetings with his Surinamese counterpart, as well as the country's Minister of Finance. The Guyana government has already hinted that it would not be investing in the establishment of an oil refinery at this time, but it has also signaled its intention to support the private sector towards that end. Trotman said that while the private sector has not yet approached his ministry on the proposal, the U.S. oil company Chevron has made a very good proposal to work in Guyana. He will seek guidance from Cabinet on that proposal. Earlier this month, oil giant ExxonMobil Corporation announced it had made a 5th new oil discovery offshore Guyana. The High Court in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is considering a draft agreement by the main opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, and the government, which if approved, could see some unused ballots from the 2015 general elections being inspected as soon as Wednesday morning. Lawyers for the government in the election petition hearings on Tuesday asked the High Court to approve a draft order reached by both sides, and such an approval will make further hearings unnecessary on the application filed for permission to inspect the ballot boxes. Kenny Kentish, a lawyer for the government in the matter, made the announcement about the party's position to presiding High Court Judge Justice Esco Henry at the beginning of what was scheduled to be 2 days of hearings in relation to the motion. In his presentation to the court, Kentish said the draft order provides for inspection of the ballot boxes and ballot papers in 4 polling stations in central Leeward. The NDP is challenging the outcome in North Windward and central Leeward, 2 of the 8 constituencies that the Unity Labour Party won to secure a 4th consecutive term in office. Former Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Minister Asot Michael is still in London despite being released following his arrest there on Monday. The reason for his arrest is still unclear, but CMC understands that he remains in London as Metropolitan Police have indicated that he will be needed for further questioning. Shortly after his arrest, Prime Minister Gaston Brown advised Governor-General Sir Rodney Williams to revoke Michael's government appointments. Brown said although Michael may be able to establish his innocence over time, he was obliged to relieve him of all government duties on the grounds that he expects all holders of government offices to comply with the highest possible standards required of their office. The Independent Fishermen Union of Trinidad and Tobago is requesting a meeting with the Minister of Agriculture to discuss the effects of the increase in diesel prices. That's the increase that diesel prices is having on the industry. Fishermen say they have been struggling to make ends meet. We get more in this C News report.
The union says it would like to discuss with the minister proposals to mitigate against the adverse consequences of the increase in diesel. The price of diesel went from $2.30 to $3.41 per litre following the reading of the 2018 budget on October 2nd. The union says the fuel increase was done without any consultation with the fishing community, and that lack of consultation is painfully manifesting itself. The Fishermen's Union says coupled with the already depleting fish stock, the increase in diesel price has been debilitating and crippling the local fishing community.
CARICOM is gearing up to host a donor conference next month to raise funds to help fast-track the rebuilding process in member states battered by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. In making the announcement, Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque pointed out that it was impossible for the economies of the devastated countries to generate enough activity for reconstruction. The hope is to get financial help to rebuild better. We apologize for that incorrect insert, but still to come in Caribbean Newsline, Grenada is seeking World Bank support for its climate-smart economic thrust. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
Be strong, Caribbean strong. The Relief Concert and Telethon, Caribbean Strong. Sunday, October 29th, Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, the Caribbean's biggest stars.
When we get together this time, our voices will be heard and will lift all spirits to be Caribbean Strong.
I'm here to encourage you to be the best.
The United Artists of the Caribbean, Machelle Montano, Shaggy, Tian Winter, Vegas, Ricardo Drew, Conscience, and many more.
Barbuda did not stand the faintest chance against such size, such ferocity, and such intensity. There is now no permanent resident on Barbuda.
Be brave, I know it's just a test. Yeah, yeah.
Caribbean Strong, the Relief Concert.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh, look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Grenada's Works Minister Gregory Bowen says the extra earnings from surpassing monthly revenue targets this year are being injected into capital projects. He told a media conference on Tuesday that the excess capital is being used in infrastructural projects such as the refurbishment of schools and construction of the new Parliament building. Bowen explained that the enforcement of the fiscal responsibility legislation as part of the structural adjustment program forces government to adopt fiscal measures that limit its ability to borrow, and all monies collected by government are to be used for its financial obligations. Government's latest fiscal summary for August shows current revenue at 54.2 million EC dollars. That's $3.1 million above the target for the month. Expenditure was $56.6 million, and there was a primary surplus of $11.7 million. Still in Grenada, the government is seeking support from the World Bank for its climate-smart economic thrust. Leslie Ann Johnson has the details.
Is seeking support from the World Bank as it pursues climate-smart development while at the same time synchronizing economic development with sustainability. Delivering the throne speech at the opening of the 6th session of the 9th Parliament on Friday, Governor-General Dame Cécile Lagrenade said even as government works towards a continued expansion of the local economy, they must find ways to protect the environment for the country's economic and general survival.
My government is taking active measures to reduce our vulnerabilities and is seeking to support of the World Bank in this regard. A team from the bank was in Grenada during the last week of September on an appraisal mission for a proposed development policy loan that will support institutional and other reforms to promote environmental sustainability and build resilience to economic shocks. Policy reforms will focus on climate adaptation and mitigation, protection of natural resources, hazard risk mitigation, disaster risk reduction, protection of coastal and marine ecosystems, and proper physical planning.
Priorities for the coming year include implementation of the Blue Growth Master Plan and the Blue Innovation Institute. Dame Cécile stressed that government will continue to make a case to the international community for concessional financing to fund climate adaptation and mitigation.
My government will continue to impress upon the international community the importance of considering vulnerability in any measure of economic development for small island states. The fact is, there can be no true development of the Caribbean small island states if they remain as vulnerable as they are to weather-related shocks. My government urges the international community to recognize the Caribbean's unique situation in this regard and fashion development support and solutions that appropriately relate to our realities. These are not ordinary times, and as such, ordinary solutions and support will not suffice.
A sand haze is affecting some islands in the Lesser Antilles, and residents in Martinique are complaining about respiratory problems as a result of the dust. Medical professionals on the island are concerned about the long-term effects it will have on people suffering from chronic respiratory diseases and asthma. The Air Monitoring Agency says there should be a slight improvement in the situation in coming days, and it says studies should be carried out to find out the composition of the particles in the air. We get more in this special report from our partners over at France 4 Broadcast.
The horizon has almost disappeared, hidden by this thick, milky curtain since yesterday. The index of air pollution is at its maximum. Antoine knows something.
My eyes burn, the throat scratches me, as well as the nose.
Others, luckier, hardly notice any difference.
I didn't even feel that there was a mist of anything. It doesn't stop me from smoking, so it's all right. For me, it's rather aesthetic. Usually, we have a beautiful blue sky, and there is a sky all gray today. I don't understand, but for the moment, at the respiratory level, it's all right.
Yet the phenomenon is of a rather exceptional intensity and touches all the small Antilles. For Anthony and his son, out of the question to stay locked up, all is to act with caution. And for the tourists who barely land, the holidays start with worry.
I'm surprised that it's so foggy because we came for the sun and especially the blue sky. We ask questions about the environment.
On construction sites, workers are particularly exposed. Some precautions are taken against dust.
When there is a lot of dust, water is sprayed. This prevents the dust from spreading. In rainy weather, we don't have too much dust, but during the heat, we wear protective masks. The symptoms are mainly in the nostrils or in the back throat. Do you feel oppressed? I especially have an embarrassment in the back throat, runny nose, and little trouble when I take a deep breath.
Hoarse throat, difficulty breathing, eyes irritated, symptoms that do not deceive. At each peak of pollution, the consultations multiply in this allergist, an increasingly frequent phenomenon that he considers dangerous.
The long-term consequences, it's for the fragile people. The cardiac persons are suffering from chronic respiratory diseases. The asthmatic ones, the long-term consequences, it's an imbalance for their pathology with an increased risk of having complications, cardiovascular diseases, heart attacks, respiratory complications, aggravations of chronic respiratory disorders, worsening of asthma. Asthma can be fatal. It's also an element that we must be taken into account.
The Air Monitoring Agency announces a slight improvement for the coming days. The index should be 9 out of 10.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies takes the first win in the Test series against Zimbabwe. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Be strong, Caribbean strong. The relief concert and telethon, Caribbean Strong. Sunday, October 29th, Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, the Caribbean's biggest stars.
When we get together this time, our voices will be heard and will lift all spirits to be Caribbean strong.
I'm here to encourage you to be the best.
The United Artists of the Caribbean, Machelle Montano, Shaggy, Tian Winter, Vegas, Ricardo Drew, Conscience, and many more.
Barbuda did not stand the faintest chance against such size, such ferocity, and such intensity. There is now no permanent resident on Barbuda.
Hey, be brave and know it's just a test. Yeah, yeah.
Caribbean Strong, the relief concert.
Leg spinner Devendra Bishu sliced through Zimbabwe to end with a 9-wicket match haul as West Indies easily brushed aside the host by 117 runs inside of 4 days to take a 1-0 lead in the 2-test series in Bulawayo on Tuesday. Having set the African side an improbable target of 434 on the turn at Queen's Sports Club, the Windies bowled them out for 316 in their second innings, with Bishu picking up 4 for 105. The 31-year-old finished with figures of 9 for 184, the second best bowling effort of his career. To earn man of the match honours, part-time off-spinner Ruston Chase finished with 2 for 61. Brennan Taylor had earliest top scored with 73, while Hamilton stroked 57 and opening partner Solomon 47 as Zimbabwe initially put up resistance. But after being well placed at lunch on 76 without loss, the hosts surrendered 4 wickets in the second session to lose their way, and the final 6 wickets fell in the final session to avoid the match going into the final day. Still in cricket, Jamaica Scorpions head coach Robert Samuels believes the inexperienced side will do well in the regional 4-day competition, which bowls off later this week. He took that stance as the Scorpions left Jamaica on Monday to take on Guyana Jaguars in round 1 action on Thursday before taking on Red Force in Port of Spain on November 2. Meanwhile, Captain Paul Palmer Jr., who has replaced Nikita Miller, says there is much talent in this new team.
You can see we have a decent amount of newcomers, fellas making the debut for this game. So for us going down there, we just have to try and carry out the instructions given by the coach as much as possible and play some positive cricket. We have a very talented team. We're a talented bunch. So it's just now for us, as I said before, to go out and put that on display.
One of the fresh faces in the squad is left-arm spinner Dennis Bulai. Bulai has played 3 first-class matches, and his impressive figures of 8 for 13 and 7 for 35 in his most recent JCA Elite League matches have earned him the confidence of the selectors. He's hoping he can carry over his good form to the first-class level.
Well, that's the best thing to do, bring your form over from where it is now, over in the bigger league. So that's the whole entire aim now, to bring that across in the regional level, to do well, so that I can move forward to better and bigger things and to have a permanent place in the team.
The other newcomers in the squad are wicketkeeper Romain Morris, as well as Garth Garvey and Paul Harrison, both of the Kingston Cricket Club. While acknowledging the absence of a few of the team's usual players due to West Indies senior team and West Indies A duties, head coach Robert Samuels believes the team has the right balance to get the job done against the defending champions, the Guyana Jaguars.
I'm very pleased with what I have to work with. Whatever it is that I'm given, I have to work with it, and I'm pleased with the guys going down there. As I say, a new bunch. They are a good-looking bunch. They have been around playing Senior Cup and playing around Senior Cup and all that. So it's for them to just go now. They were on the fringe for a very long time. They thought they should have played. Other people think they should get a chance. Now they have gotten a chance. So I am happy with the team going down. I am looking forward to sitting down and seeing them play good cricket.
The squad is completed by Trevon Griffith, Asad Footed-in, Brandon King, Fabian Allen, Derval Green, Damani Sewell, Keena Wallace and Jason Dawes.
And that report was from Jermaine Brown of TVJ Sport. Switching sports now, Trinidad and Tobago senior men's hockey team has qualified for next year's World Championships after winning the Pan American Indoor Hockey Championship in Guyana over the weekend. The stickmen from the Twin Island Republic secured the gold after hammering Argentina 7-2. A pleased Captain Solomon Eccles spoke to the media on the team's return home on Monday.
Full of energy despite a long and hectic week of action over in Guyana. But the successful men's national team was just thrilled to make TNT proud and acknowledge the support the team got while doing battle abroad. One of the first things they did was present the trophy to coach Rafi Govaya, who had to cut short his tournament because of the death of his father.
I'm happy to be here right now, getting this sort of recognition for feats that we have already done, of course, but unbeaten, you know, that's a real great thing, and we made history in that tournament, and I'm proud and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that we won.
Among those gathered to welcome the players of both the men's and the fifth-place women's teams was Sports Minister Darius Smith, who, in congratulating the teams, thanked them for doing much more than just making us proud at the tournament.
You all understand how much positive vibes. I mean, we've been suffering with flooding throughout the country. And this was something of a breath of fresh air. Sport has always done in times of difficult times in Trinidad and Tobago. But to go undefeated in any sport, I don't know if this was ever done before in this tournament.
And in other results in the tournament, host Guyana failed to medal after losing to Canada 4-2. In the women's division, no Caribbean country bagged top honors, with the host finishing at the bottom of the table, while TNT took 5th place. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada, to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit goingplacestravel.com to book your packages and visit www.foodandrum.com for more information. Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada, to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit goingplacestravel.com to book your packages and visit www.foodandrum.com for more information.
Again, the major developments of this day. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights looks into reports of police abuses in Jamaica. And in sport, West Indies easily brushed aside Zimbabwe by 117 runs inside 4 days to take a 1-0 lead in the 2-test series. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to cornernews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.